Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in. Today we are going to be channeling some information about the Mandela effect. I hope you find it useful and interesting. Okay, so really quickly I just wanted to add a little disclaimer that all channeling is limited to the vocabulary and the life experience and the lens of the channel. And so we always ask you to use your discernment and to take what resonates with you and leave the rest. And also, really quickly, I'd like to touch on how Dianne gets her information. So she channels information and she speaks on behalf of the beings that would like to speak and have messages for to share. And then she also is shown images clairvoyantly, which she discusses and interprets for us. So she sort of bounces back and forth between the two. So, okay, thank you so much, and we'll get right into today's session. Get a little bit of an understanding about the Mandela effect. So, on the planet, it seems like things that were once part of our collective reality, when being investigated now, it seems that certain things that we all know were a certain way have actually changed. So a lot of our movies and slogans and logos and even historical events like people dying on a certain date and in a certain place are actually now different. What is happening?
What we see is as the veil thins, again, the consciousness of the planet is changing, and the veil is thinning. And we talk about a veil for those that don't understand. There, as those that come to this planet and choose to come to this planet, there is a almost like we want to say, show you a ceiling. They're showing me now. I'm saying a ceiling that kind of it doesn't let you go above that. It doesn't let your consciousness go through that ceiling. So you only know what you're being told. You only on planet Earth, you only are given the information that you are told. That you don't. Um, as one of the things that we find very interesting is that at a very young age, you're told not to use your imagination. Imagination is considered a bad thing. So that right there is holding humanity down. Imagination is very important to be able to do any kind of esoteric work or spiritual work. You need that imagination. But at a very early age, you're told that that is wrong. You don't have an imaginary friend. Stop imagining that. Are you imagining that? Very negative concept of imagination. So that alone is just an example of the holding down of consciousness, not allowing consciousness to freely flow to where it needs to go to understand things. But it's a form of control. So when you have that ceiling and you have that lockdown of consciousness, then that you only learn what you are being told. You learn what your parents were told. They learn what their parents told them. That's history. That's the history that was learned. Whether it's right or wrong or totally off base, it doesn't matter. That is the knowledge. So that being said, as the veil is starting to lift and starting to get thinner, and the consciousness of the planet is changing, and the planet is changing where it's at, and all these different things are happening, the veil is thinning, and that's allowing other concepts or other timelines to blend in and meld with the timeline and consciousness of the past. So it's a slow blending, and as we say, we want it to be a slow process and trying to make it as gentle as possible. So that's part of that. That's part of that slowly, you know, blending together of different dimensions of different worlds, so to speak, that just are coming together and blending in. You on Earth have a thing that you call deja vu. That was a very small concept of the same thing of having that your mind think that that just happened, that you feel like that just happened. That is also part of that seeing through the veil for a second, seeing through a different timeline. It's the same kind of concept, but this is can be on a larger scale. What they call the Mandela effect of thinking, somebody had died years ago, and then you find out that they just died. It's when you know that everything is happening at the same time, all your different lives, everything, there's parallel lives, everything's happening at the same time. You're just tapping into another timeline, tapping into another dimension, and getting information from there as the veil thins.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of having timelines collapsing and merging and hopping, sort of a thing.
Yes. That's a way of putting it. To just say simply that yes, everything is diverging, everything is diverging together, and you're going to have more of this. Until uh, the the a process is complete, so to speak, that we're through this. There's going to be glimpses, and it's a part of wakening up. It's also a part of the planet and the people wakening up, awakening to new ideas and new concepts, and learning the truth of their existence, learning the truth of who they really are, learning the truth of where they really come from. It's all a lot for the normal person that is not aware of these things to grasp. It's very difficult. Those that are even listening to this probably have much more of a concept of this than most. So, but imagine the person that doesn't have any concept of this. It's a quite a learning process. So we're trying to make sure that everybody learns, at the level that they can learn, and ascend at the level that they can ascend, and without it, like what we say, crushing their whole world, but to learn that things are different than you thought your whole life. Is very can be very jarring to the human psyche, and that's not something that really the light workers want to see happen. So yes, there's a lot involved in that. But again, the Mandela effect, as you call it, is just the blending and the lightening of the veil, and the opening up of the ceiling, seeing holes go up, into the ceiling, and going up into the cosmos, so to speak, where you can gather that information from your higher self, or gather that information from your guides that are always with you and always giving information. Intuition is part of that too.
Alrighty, that wraps up our session today about the Mandela effect. We hope that you were able to get some good information out of this and that you enjoyed it. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Hope to see you again. Thanks.